What is up, you guys? So I actually wanted to talk to you guys about the Senior Bowl. If you guys don't know already what that is, it's like a college game where some of the best and solid players are, invited to participate in the Senior Bowl. And so basically, some of the best linemen, pass rushers, quarterbacks, they go there so teams can evaluate their talent against other good college players that are available in the draft. So if you haven't already, go to Senior Bowl 2020 on YouTube, and there's the entire game, or you can watch the highlights of the Senior Bowl. And I've already watched most of it. I watched a lot of the offensive linemen and defensive linemen from both sides. And I really, really think that it's an important tool, especially for the Rams, that they've used in the past to go get talent. So I know that Josh Reynolds was in the Senior Bowl. I think Cooper Kupp was also in the Senior Bowl. Ebukam, I want to say Okoronkwo was also in the Senior Bowl. So there's a lot of players, and I think David Edwards, they really use that Senior Bowl to draft linemen, draft pass rushers, and draft wide receivers, etc., etc. So I'm pretty sure that's what the Rams will do. If any of these Senior Bowl players end up falling, and maybe in the 6th, 7th round, I'm pretty sure the Rams, if they like them just enough, they'll draft them. But I think number one is offensive linemen, defensive linemen, and linebackers. So there's a couple of those guys in the Senior Bowl. So it's whether or not do they like them enough. And I think if you watch the game, you will see the two offensive linemen that I actually really enjoy to watch and see is the center from LSU and also the right guard from LSU named Damian Lewis. And the center name is kind of long. It starts with the Cush. I just forgot the rest of it. But those two guys are, to me, the most solid offensive linemen that will be available for the Rams if we draft linemen first and not trade down, because that's something that I don't think we can afford, is another year of bad offensive line play. We cannot afford that with, Seattle, with the Cardinals, and also with the Niners, especially the Niners with that defensive line. It's going to be pretty difficult to go against teams like that, especially after some of these teams will get better during the draft. And if we don't get better in the offensive line, for sure, you cannot. If you don't have an offensive line, you don't have a running game or able to throw the ball efficiently, because Jared Goff is always getting pressured. So that's what the Rams need to do, is make sure that they secure the offensive line first, whether it's through the draft or through free agency. But these two offensive linemen, to me, are the most solid in college, in the college draft. That's going to happen. And we need to make sure we go and draft these guys. And just so you guys know what I'm talking about, go watch the game, go watch the Senior Bowl. It probably about 2 hours. You don't have to watch the entire thing. I just watched basically just to watch these two guys play. But and also Justin Herbert, who's being said that he might go to the Chargers, which he did good in the Senior Bowl, and I think he actually might have a good chance of going in the first round. Chargers need a quarterback, so most likely they'll end up picking him or whoever's the best available. But some of the most solid players, corners, safeties, defensive linemen, some of the most solid players in college that are going to be in the draft are in the Senior Bowl. So make sure to go watch the game. Do yourself a favor. Give yourself, maybe during lunch or, once you get home from work, go watch the Senior Bowl. It's worth it, man. And you guys know what I'm talking about, because if I keep bringing up some of these guys, you guys will say, well, why the heck is he bringing up these players? First of all, the center and the guard from LSU, they were part of the undefeated LSU team that won the national championship this year. You don't win a national championship without a pretty decent offensive line. And they were able to, open holes for the running backs. They were also really good in the screen game, especially the type of offense that we like to do, a lot of screen passes to Gurley and Darrell Henderson. And then also really good protection for Joe Burrow. So we need to protect Jared Goff as best as we can, and those two guys will fit in perfectly. After that, let's say after we draft those two guys, and we still have like Brian Allen. We still have some decent depth in the offensive line, so we don't have to worry about that. And maybe later we can go and trade one of these guys for a third rounder, fourth rounder, and get ourselves some more players. So that's probably what the Rams might end up doing, is if they draft good linemen 2 and 3, and they need a fourth, maybe to get another player, they might actually go in and trade, Brian Allen, or who knows, maybe Joe Noteboom. Maybe they don't like Joe Noteboom enough, and they're trying to bring back Andrew Whitworth at the moment. So this is a good way to evaluate talent, whether depending on whatever position you guys actually like, because a lot of you guys are talking about wide receivers, quarterbacks, some of the positions I thought maybe aren't of a need at the moment, but it would not be nice to have amazing wide receivers. But if you don't have the offensive lineup, let the play extend and let them get open, then they're basically good for nothing. Kind of like the Cleveland Browns. They just don't have the offensive line, but they got great skill players. Just don't have the enough time to throw the football and run the rock. But there's if you guys like defensive linemen, if you guys like want to see the linebackers or pass rushers, the Senior Bowl is basically the best place you're going to see them go against some of the best competition in the country. So let me know what you think. Go watch the Senior Bowl. You guys will probably see my comments while I'm watching the game, watching those two guys. And, until next time, you guys, go Rams.